Oh, never mind.
Oh, it's working now.
Good?
Yep, we're good, sorry.
Okay. All right, Mr. Hine, will you call us to order? And we do have a quorum. If y'all would stand with me. Logan, would you say our prayer?
Dear Lord, we just thank you for today. We thank you for the rain provided with us and the possibility of having some more. God, we ask that you would guide our decisions for the best interest of the district, for the employees and for the children. And in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thanks, sir. All right. We're going to start with Mrs. Searles. You want to go ahead and introduce who you have?
Sure. All right, if my friends will come step up here by your projects with me. We have some really cool first graders who made some recycled projects. Their task was to take something that was used and recycle it into something that's new and usable. And if they want to, I'll let you, do you want to demonstrate yours? You want to show them what yours are, or do you want to just tell them? These are shoes out of Kleenex boxes, and she did wear them at school.
You did?
Do you want to tell what yours is, Evie? This is Bristol. This is Evie.
So I made this out of a Amazon box. First we spray painted it, and then we spray painted the sides, and then got toilet paper rolls to put them on the sides of the flaps, and so it could be holders for your art supplies. We even did this for the key that I can take out, because that was supposed to be that. And I can hold up my papers and stuff, and this like my folders. And I really did decorate this.
Awesome, thank you. Ember, what is yours?
Piggy bank.
A piggy bank out of a milk jug. And she actually has money in it. Henry, do you want to tell what yours is?
Mine is a recycled robot, and I like calling it a Doodlebot. So my idea was to make it into a robot, and me and my mom talked about it, and so we made a robot out of it first. So like we made a cut, so we got a cut, painted it, made a hole on the top, and since the electric, we got an electric toothbrush to make it vibrate, but it didn't really work. So my dad made this a metal part to make it shake more, and that's it.
Does it work? You want to show us?
Needs paper.
Oh, it does? What kind of paper?
Doesn't matter.
Borrow one of Evie's. Does that work?
Yeah, it's just a school paper. Wait, hold on.
Oh, get a different one.
Yeah, I don't really need this one. I need this one.
Okay. Very cool. You want me to tell?
I made it out of a milk jug. What is it? Cut it. Put sunflower seeds in a bag and put it in there.
Is it a bird feeder?
What else? What's at the bottom?
So the bird can sit on it. Very cool. Thank you. All right, Taylor, what about you?
I made chip clips, and I made them out of hangers, and then I painted them, and then I put glitter on them, and then I put magnets in the back.
So they can hang on your refrigerator. Awesome. So they took some old things and recycled them and made usable products. And our first grade teachers have done a great job in bringing in some new and exciting projects and activities for the kids to learn. Awesome.
First grade kids.
Yeah, we have Miss Howard here. She's our lone representative.
Have to come up and get a picture.
Okay. I guess you get to get a picture with them and the prizes.
Oh, okay.
Do you want him to come up?
You wanna
Sure, how about
bring the
that?
projects up?
Do y'all want to hold your projects up there, and then we'll get up there and everybody will get a picture? You know, hold your project, and then you can take your project home afterwards. Go stand up on the stage. You want to put them on your feet and get your picture? No? No, Mom. Okay. You can just hold it if you want to.
Yes. Okay, ready? Got it. Good talk, guys.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay, Mr. Pearson.
Unfortunately, my guest has
Okay. That'll work. Mr. Vanderpool.
All right, I've got several guests. Ms. Walker, would you like to go first?
Sure.
Or UIL participants?
Everybody up to the front.
Everybody. Oh,
This is only a small representation of the UIL academic teams. We had probably close to about 60 participate this year. We did get second place runner-up in district. We had spelling and vocabulary with Ms. Lovejoy. You want to come up? No. Ms. Lovejoy doesn't want to come up, but she did spelling and vocabulary, which got first place team. Caleb Stein got second. Joaquin Noble got sixth. Prose, Eva Noakes got sixth. She also did CX. Maria and Davian, there you are. Wickerson got first place and went to state during spring break, of all things. She also had the Lit Crit team, where Abigail Watson placed sixth. And she did LD debate with William Wiggins, who placed first. Copy edit with Daly Ringo placing second and Zoe Deathbridge placing fifth, and poetry. So she did those 7 events. Miss Berger did science. Abigail Watson placed fifth. Ready writing, Miss Sylvie, and Daly Ringo placed third. Isaac Sylvie placed fourth, and Zoe Deathbridge placed sixth. So she had all 3 of her team members place. CNIE was done by Miss Armour, where Paige Bass got 7th. Miss Rath, did persuasive speaking, with Davian Wickerson getting first and William Wiggins getting second. And informative speaking, so Avery Stein got 5th and Abigail Garton got 6th. I did number sense, calculator, and mathematics. Caleb Stein got first in number sense, Angelina Shank got 6th, Caleb Stein got fourth in calculator, with Haven Holcomb getting sixth. And in mathematics, Caleb Stein and Jonathan Alejandro tied for fourth. Miss Line did one act play, which advanced to by district for the first time in a while. And they did really well there, had great showing. I don't know the individual awards. Do you happen to know those, Davian?
I know like Aubrey and Emma got All-Star Cast.
All-Star Cast, okay. She also did editorial writing with Alexandria Satterwhite placing fifth. Feature writing where Kennedy Dallas placed third and Marissa Hall placed fourth. Kennedy also placed sixth in regionals. Congratulations on that. She did headline with Bella Price placing second and Kennedy placing fifth. Kennedy can write, if you haven't heard. She also did news writing with Marissa Hall placing second, Jerry Thompson placing fifth, and Luther Estridge, placing sixth. Now, Ms. Gray. Ms. Gray had computer applications where Caleb Stein placed first and Kimberly Charlton placed fourth. And I think we only have 2 more years of that event before the state decided that that one will be no longer. Computer science got first place team. Jacob Vandergrift placed first. Ava Noble and Haven Holcomb tied for third by answering that one question. So, and then we have the accounting team. Are you all there? Wave your hands. There's the accounting team. The accounting team placed first at district with Haven placing first, Ava placing second, Jonathan placing third, and Isaac placing fourth. So we go to regionals. They get first place team again. Haven gets second, Ava gets third, Isaac gets fourth, and Jonathan gets fifth. And at state, they are the second place team in the state, with Ava Noble placing third individually. Great job.
Ms. Walker, y'all want to come up?
Yeah, that way it's
Thank you.
Good job.
Well done.
got one more guest, but before that, I do feel like we need to mention Jonathan Alejandro got first in his event at PTA Nationals. And there's more than 15,000 kids there, so that's
Yeah, way to
impressive.
go, Jonathan.
My last guest is Miss Lyles, who's going to update y'all real quickly on our scholarships and the total dollars that we've gotten out of the CD
So I'm
class.
going to bring 3 seniors up with us, because it's their money. So at the beginning of the year, I met with the seniors and asked them how much they thought they could get in scholarships. And we looked at previous years, and they decided $200,000 was their goal. As of today, they're at $190,162 as their goal. Well over 200. They have reached their goal, and we're very, very proud of them.
Hang on. They run out of that.
Yes, they run out of pictures.
We don't want to be in the picture. What do you draw?
Okay, awesome. Good job.
Good job.
Miss Gray and Jonathan need to go up front.
Y'all want to bring your
Bring your flag, Jonathan.
Good job.
Jonathan, what was your event?
It was fundamental accounting.
Awesome. Counting's not the easiest thing. I promise.
Neither is accounting.
You're
All
probably a lot
right,
better.
Coach Wiggins.
I got a couple guests. One of them doesn't know that I'm fixing to embarrass her, but that's okay. Daily Ringo approached me because she needed a community project for basically, and I'm new to it, so that she gets some community service hours and volunteering. And she took on the task of painting our disgusting, nasty, probably needed a tetanus shot to enter locker room on the boys' side. And not only did she spearhead that whole operation, she recruited a bunch of friends, and I mean a ton of kids that went in there. She's really the motor behind the whole thing. She's the one that got it spearheaded. But they spent all day long, volunteering all day long, and then half the next day painting the entire thing. I'm talking the bathrooms, everything. They painted the whole varsity locker room, JV locker room, everything. And some parents came up and volunteered, but I just want to say thank you to her right here in front of everybody. So, you know, like I said, she's not even athletic, but this is a girl that makes it tie together, and it's amazing we get people that are across the board just supporting each other. But I owe Daily that deep debt of gratitude, and we need to give her a round of applause. And now a kid that doesn't want to come up here, but he's going to have to. Come on. Yeah. By the way, this is all coaching. Nothing was natural. So, yeah, he's been. So y'all know Braden. He actually won region in the 100-200. So it's kind of putting Fritch on the map. You can stand. You can be very long. You can get pictures with whoever you want, but. When he ran a 10.43 out here that broke the school record, just some of y'all know this, I want you to understand that when he ran it using an FAT timing system. And so when you see anything that says FAT on it, it doesn't mean there was a fat guy running down the daggone lane. It means that it was fully automated timing. So if anybody knows anything, forever and ever, the way we ran Pantex relays, it's all been handheld timing. It's all been, okay, we're going to look for smoke. And then you hope you get it whenever the person crosses the finish line. FAT timing, if you don't use a FAT timing system at district, then you have to convert your times, and there's a conversion table by law. UIL requires you, and it makes you way slower than the time you turn in, because FAT timing typically is way slower than handheld, because literally whenever the gun goes off, there's a box down there by the gun, the time is immediately going. So the gun's here, the runners are down there, so right when the gun goes off, the time's going. So however much time it takes for that gun echo to get to the runners, that reaction time's already gone. And then it don't stop until the torso crosses the finish line, not the face or anything like that. So if anybody's handheld time, they usually wait until some flash crosses and they hit the button. So it's very inaccurate. He was a 10.43 FAT, which is fast. And when that happened and it got published out there, my phone has blown completely up. My email has blown completely up. And so he's got a lot of college opportunities now to go play football and probably run track, and he's actually put Fritch on the map. So that's actually a good thing and a bad thing. Number one, he don't need to get the big head, even though I would probably. But number two, all these other kids, when these college recruits come in here, and they see him in the morning lifting, or they see him in the workouts, I mean, they step up their game, because they got somebody else now, they're wanting to catch now. So it's not a bad thing, because it's putting Fritch on the map, and it's an inherent accountability for the rest of the kids. But I'm proud of Brady. He's worked hard. Here's the deal, all spring long, he hasn't missed morning weights. And really, that was the speech that we had last year. Last year, he wound up getting fourth at regionals. We didn't let him run the 100, but he gets fourth at regionals, or fifth in the 200. Didn't get to Austin. And this year, he won both of them. But he's a stronger runner. He could finish. We ran the crap out of him on the track. Ran the crap out of him, and it all paid off. It all paid off. Now, here's the deal. He don't have his medals around him, which this is kind of thrown on him, but the beautiful thing is he's got bigger medals to win than what he's won so far. So we just want Braden to know that we're going to encourage him. He's leaving out tomorrow morning. There's a send-off at 8 a.m. And his whole goal is to bring home the gold in both. He didn't make it this far to just go out there and make a showing. Even though he's got senior year, his goal is to go out and leave no rock unturned. And so he's going to lay it all on the track. It will be live streamed Friday. He runs, what is it, 6 o'clock is the actual, it's all on a time schedule. The running event started at 5. His event, I believe, is at 6:05 or it's right at 6 o'clock. But if you want to watch, it's live streamed. Go to the UIL website, it's live streamed, and you click on it, it's a live stream broadcast. And so if you want to watch Braden live, great way to watch him live, and he'll be wearing the Eagle jersey and with pride. So we're extremely proud of him. If you want pictures, y'all are welcome to get pictures with him. Let's give it a round.
I was saying, now you want Coach in there?
No.
Yeah.
Good job, Brandon.
Thank you.
Good luck. Good luck.
Go get him. Hey, do I got time to mention the fact system? I'll do it during my ED report. Just run.
I thought we were done with that.
It's gonna be me and a Suburban by myself.
Okay, Ms. Fuller.
Come up there and talk, I guess, or?
Sure, wherever you would
So
like.
you can hear me?
You can sit or you can stand.
Well, I guess I'll stand.
Okay.
So I was surprised there were so many people here. Great. First, thank you for your time. My name is Ellen Fulton. I live in Borger. I work at the refinery in human resources. And the reason that I'm here is because I want to tell you a little bit about this organization that my husband and I have started. And it's called Angela's Mission Against Youth Suicide. Got our shirt. We had our first walk last fall. Amy joined us in a meeting recently, so hopefully she'll join our board. We recently were approved as a 501c3, so we're an organization, and our goal, we want to raise awareness and put educational programs in Hutchinson County's middle and high schools, targeting that age of students, with the goal of zero youth suicides. So a little background. So Angela is my sister-in-law, my husband's sister, and she died by suicide. It's been 11 years now. So she was 39. And her first attempt was when she was 16. And so she battled mental health her whole, the rest of her life. And ultimately, she succumbed to it. And so that's been with us. And then some other things throughout the course of our, since then, we keep coming across these youth who injure themselves or have plans to hurt themselves. And so it's kind of like happenstance or God placed, if you will, that we should do something about it. So we started this organization. And what we are doing right now is going around to the school districts to tell about ourselves. And what we're hoping to do is build some type of partnership. So partnerships with the school districts as far as programs or a resource for you that you could come to if you have questions. We have some ideas around programs that we'd like to supplement your curriculum with. The state of Texas changed its mental health education requirements starting the fall of next year, that y'all have to put some mental health things, change some education, and suicide awareness is part of that. And so if we could be a part of your SHAC committee to help with that education and those programs, we'd love that. If you need help with speakers or programs, we could be a resource for that. We're still new and we're learning ourselves. And so it's a whole community effort. We met with the Borger SHAC. They were very supportive, and one of the programs that they seem open to right now is called this Yellow Ribbon Program. And so it's a program where, if completely implemented, all teachers, superintendents, coaches, people who interact with youth will be aware, they'll be certified as a Yellow Ribbon person. And so all students in that age range or children would have a little yellow ribbon card. And so it's kind of a way for them to have a voice, bring something to someone who has a yellow ribbon so they know what to do, what steps to take from there if they have someone at risk. So just a little bit of statistics for you. So suicide is the second leading cause of death among middle and high school students across the United States between ages 12 and 18. That is more than a combination of cancer, heart disease, AIDS, birth defects, stroke, pneumonia, influenza, and lung disease all combined. So it's the second leading cause of death among youth. And it's preventable. Each day in the country, an average more than 3,700 young people between 9th and 12th grade make a suicide attempt. If you added middle school, it's even more. That number is way too high. 4 out of 5 teens who attempt suicide, they've given some clear warning signs. So as, people who interact with youth, if we become more aware of those warning signs, there might be steps that we can take to prevent someone, from dying by suicide. So if you look at the population in Hutchinson County, in the middle and high schools between Fritch, Borger, Sinet, and Spring Creek, we have about 2,500 students in middle and high school. If you look at the statistics, they say about 18% of students have seriously considered ending their life. So in Hutchinson County, that means we have 470 students who are thinking about ending their life. 16%, statistics say, have a plan. So in Hutchinson County, 16% is 398 students have a plan of how they would go about ending their life. 9% have attempted at least once in the last 12 months. So if you apply numbers, in Hutchinson County, that's about 223 students. I have a daughter. She's a sophomore in high school, and talking to her about this, and I was sharing those numbers, and she said, "Mom, it's higher than that. It's got to be higher than that." She has lots of friends who attempted, acquaintances who attempted. The very first person she had come across, first dealing with suicide herself, was in 7th grade. A friend of hers in middle school, he was just 13, died by suicide. And so it's like one of those things that just is preventable. And so we started this organization to try to increase awareness, put some programs in place, and maybe partner with some of the schools, maybe athletic organizations. So we'll see where it takes us. So I guess my question here, or ask, is we'd like to be a resource to you, be on your SHAC committee, open to anything you'd like. And Amy has joined up with us, so hopefully she'll stay with us as kind of like a partner. Any questions?
Mr. Vanderpool, he's the head of our SHAC committee, and so if y'all want to exchange information, so that way, we can definitely join up. I think it sounds like a worthwhile organization to me, and so we'd be interested in, working with you to, help our kids.
Yeah.
So.
See what happens, right? Like I
Yes,
said, we
ma'am.
don't have the answers, but we want to be part of a solution.
Good deal.
I will give you my contact information.
Sounds good. Thank you for coming.
Yes.
Okay.
You would do the other.
You got sworn, so you can be a part of it.
Okay. Let's swear in. Let's do the swearing in of the 3 board members that were re-elected. Me, Mike, and Rusty.
I'm gonna hand it to you. Last time I did it,
It was
it was ugly.
thank you.
So you want us to read this, is that what you're saying?
Yes, and you have to hold up the hand.
Got the same time?
Read.
Let's read them one at a time, or do we all 3 read at the same time?
I mean, does it matter?
It doesn't matter.
I think
Okay.
you can say.
I, Billy Ryder, do solemnly swear that I have not directly or indirectly paid, offered, promised to pay, contributed, or promised to contribute any money or anything of value, or promised any public office or employment for the giving of a vote at the election at which I was elected, or as a reward to secure my employment and confirmation, whichever the case may be, so help me
That's not
God.
how this works. That's not how this works. I'm sorry. You got to swear in independently. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I promise.
That's what I thought.
Okay, go ahead.
I did mine. That's what I was thinking. Okay, all right, I'll do it. I, Billy Ryder, do solemnly swear that I do not directly or indirectly paid, offered, promised to pay, contributed, or promised to contribute any money or anything of value, or promised any public office or employment for the giving or withholding of a vote at an election at which I was elected, or as a reward to secure my appointment or confirmation, which the case may be, so help me God. Yep. I, Billy Ryder, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of School Board Trustee for the Sanford Fritch Independent School District of the State of Texas, and will do my best to my ability to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States and of this state, so help me God.
I, Rusty Ratliff, do solemnly swear that I have not directly or indirectly paid, offered, promised to pay, contributed, or promised to contribute any money or thing of value, or promised any public office or employment for the giving or withholding of a vote at the election at which I was elected, or as a reward to secure my appointment or confirmation, whichever the case may be, so help me God. I, Rusty Ratliff, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of School Board Trustee for the Sanford Fritch Independent School District of the State of Texas, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state, so help me God.
I, Michael Robinson, do solemnly swear that I have not directly or indirectly paid, offered, promised to pay, contributed, or promised to contribute any money or thing of value, or promised any public office or employment for the giving or withholding of a vote at the election at which I was elected, or as a reward to secure my appointment or confirmation, whichever the case may be, so help me God. I, Michael Robinson, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of School Board Trustee for the Sanford Fritch Independent School District of the State of Texas, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state, so help me God.
And then all over. Now, how do you want the picture for the paper?
Do we need to sign?
Yeah, I'm going to notarize it, seal it. Can we do it right now, or?
Let's do it after.
Do it after. You all need to stay?
Sure. Okay. You got it? Okay, now we're gonna reorganize the board, which we just did. Have any?
I'll make the motion to retain the current board positions until the following election.
Okay, I have a motion by Doug, second by Rusty. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Ready, Richard?
Almost there. Doug and Rusty, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, does anybody have any questions on the consent agenda? Oh, I did, real quick. On the consent agenda, what are the extra, Mr. Wiggins? What are the, or Coach Wiggins, what are the camps, and what are we gonna offer?
So, every sport but football will be actually, the individual head coach will be, just like they always have in the past. They run a youth camp up here, and they actually charge a fee, and then they pay the coaches that help it. Sometimes they get ex-students to come in here and help run the camp, like Coach Brow will get ex-volleyball players to play for him, come in here and run the camp, and then they give the money out to the helpers. As far as football goes, we're doing our camp the last week of July, which is also the first week that we report as a staff. and I'll be using that camp as a fundraiser, and all the proceeds off of it won't be paid to the coaches. We're going to use it to buy additional football equipment. It'll all go through an activity account for the school. But the proceeds off it will stay in the school because the coaches are already on contract. So I'm kind of double dipping. And it gives us a great opportunity for us to go ahead and get the ball running right before two-a-day starts and kind of get our feet wet offensively, defensively, and fundamentals with the little ones, and then we roll right into two-a-days with it. So we're going to be meeting anyway. So
Okay, good deal. Okay, anybody else have any questions about it? Okay, have a motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda items 1 through 3.
Have a motion from Chad, do a second? Second. Second by Logan, all in favor? None opposed, motion carries. All right. Jason, is this?
Yes. Okay, our District of Innovation Plan, you have to renew this every 5 years, and ours comes up this year for renewal. In the past one, there was a section that talked about not using insurance through TRS, and we had to have that in our District Innovation Plan. Well, that's no longer an option. You can either use the TRS insurance, or you can go out and get insurance, and we're going through TRS, and so we took that section out. That's why it's not in there anymore. And then the rest of it is the same, except for it has the school start and last day of school, so we can go by the minutes, and it gives us flexibility with our schedule. The teacher certification, you know, with the CTE, if we have, you know, like an electrician that wants to come up and teach classes, then with their experience, we could certify them because of our District Innovation Plan. Teacher contract days are in it, and that's not a change. The length of instructional day, that's not a change. The changes I made to it were transfer students. The current rule, you can accept transfers, and once you accept them, then they have to be in your district for that school year. With this District of Innovation, if we take a transfer, but it ends up not working out, if they're a discipline problem, they're not coming to school, they're not making the grade, then we can revoke their transfer anytime during that year. And so, and then the other addition is DAP, teacher certification. Right now, if you put a kid in DAP, they have to have a certified teacher in there with them. This would allow us, with the teacher shortage, it would allow us to utilize an aide in there to be able to be in there with the student throughout the day. And then we would have teachers go in there and help them when they had questions, or the teachers can work with the aide and answer questions, but they can work with the student also if they're in DAP. So those are the only two additions to it, to the current plan.
Any questions?
And the way I come up with these is I took our plan, and then I looked at about 15 schools around us to see what they did. And basically, we all had about the same, except for I found this in a couple of them, and then so I added I thought these would be beneficial for our school district, and so I added those.
Okay. Any questions?
What's the measurement of discipline as far as how many times they can be suspended or in school suspension? Is there anything like that, or is it just a decision?
For the transfer?
Yeah.
It's really just a decision based on the principal will, you know, if he or she are having issues with the student, then they can come to me, and then we can make that decision at that point. But there's no really just, you know, if they're in access 3 times, they're out, nothing like that. Because, I mean, you know, kids are going to make mistakes, and we know that, but, you know, it's just the repeated, or depending on how severe a mistake it is, then we can revoke the transfer at that time.
And if they transfer to DAEP, they remain DAP?
Yes. Okay. Well, for whatever, you know, however many days of DAP, then that, you know, they got assigned, because some offenses may be 10 days, some may be 30, some may be 90. It just depends on, you know, what the infraction is.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, I need a motion.
I move to approve the renewal of the District of Innovation One.
Motion by Rusty, have a second. Second by Mike, all in favor? Opposed? None? Motion carries. All right, go look at the compensation plan. Mr. Hine, will you go over that, please?
Sure, Jason and I both worked on it. I did put a new one on your desk because there was a couple of issues with the one that we put in your packet. The state and local salary schedule was from 1920, not the one from this last year, so it was $300 short on each step, the one that was in your packet, so that's been corrected on this one. We also are changing our recommendation. So our recommendation for the local salary schedule is that we add 2,000 to years 0 through 4. For those of you who weren't here back when HB 3 passed, when the House Bill 3 passed, not in this last session, but the session before, they gave us a substantial increase in our funding, but a certain percentage of that increase in the funding had to go to the teacher salaries. But they stipulated in that you had to give less to the teachers with 5 years or less experience. So we get raised 0 to 4, $2,000, and we raised 5 to 34, $5,000. So what that has done is, if you look on the sheet where I compare all the school districts, you can notice that in that first 5, that starting salary, we're not as competitive now as we were. And so that's why we're asking that at the first that we go ahead and raise those up. If you look down at the bottom of that sheet, I put in that 5th year so you can see that it actually does, raise them 2,000, slides it right into about where we are. Makes it comparable to pretty close to where everything 5 and over is. And that makes us, if you look, the highlighted areas on the sheet are the places where we're not higher than somebody. And per your request of last year, I left the large schools on here like Amarillo, Canyon, stuff like that. But with the schools our size, putting 2,000 on starting makes us competitive with those salaries. So, and then we'll get back to that. I'm going to run through all the changes that we have in the compensation plan. Some of those Mr. Garrison will have to talk to you about, like the stipends, the supplements and stipends. You can see the ones that Mr. Garrison requested changes on. The head basketball coach, head softball, head volleyball increased from 1,000 to 1,500. We removed an additional duty stipend because it was just a generic thing that really didn't need to be there. BPA sponsor, we increase it from 300 to 2,000. Summer school teacher, it says TPA, but we pay them $20, so we might as well put that in there. Summer UIL strength and conditioning program, same thing, we pay them $20 an hour. UIL coordinator for the junior high and the elementary, they were only paid $200, we wanted to increase that to $500. And a UIL sponsor per event high schools increased from $100 to $200. And removed the UIL sponsor per tournament attended. And then we removed the state assessment coordinator. We never actually paid that stipend. We did want to make one change we want to move bus drivers from grade 2 up to grade 5. And the reason for that is it is extremely hard for us to get bus drivers. And so, the schools around us are starting their pay at a lot higher than we started bus driver. And then the other thing that we wanted to do, we want to add $2 to our pay scale, which I'll go into more detail on that in a second. But we wanted to adjust our pay scale up by $2 because of all the competitiveness we're having trouble. If this year, the number of times we were like a revolving door with employees, at-will employees. And it's because they come, they get a job, and then they go work for Walmart and making $5, $6 more than we pay. But we can't afford to go up $5 or $6. Even $2 is maybe. We'll see. So we want to increase our scale, but then we also looked at our scale. So if you look at the original scale, and I'm on this document, by the way, I hope everybody's on. If you look at the original scale, like pay scale 5, or no, pay scale 4. So that was like our maintenance people. If you had one year, you're at $12. If you have 30 years, you're at $15. Well, that's not realistic. If somebody comes here and we start them at $12 and we give the raises that we give every year, they're going to be up much higher than that. As a matter of fact, they're going to be closer to $27. So the scale wasn't realistic. So what we did is we went in and we put in, start here and just do 2% for 30 years, and then marked the 15-year and the 30-year. And that's where we came up with the scale at the bottom. It's more realistic to what we actually pay. And so what it allows us to do is to pay somebody who comes in, a maintenance guy. For example, we had 2 recent hires of maintenance guys, and they took a pretty significant pay cut to come work for us because that's what this scale is for. Like, we don't every year when we look at-will staff, we don't look back at this scale. This scale is only looked at when we hire somebody. But so by having this scale so not out of reality, when the maintenance guy comes and has 20 years experience, I have to say, okay, I know you're making like $20 wherever you're coming from, but I can only pay you 13. And so having a more realistic scale will allow us to compete for these at-will employees. So we are recommending to go to this scale and to increase the at-will staff by $2. If we increase the scale by $2, we really need to increase our current employees by $2 as well. And so, once again, per your request from last year, I did, and everything we're recommending, I did all ranges of, just so that you guys can see the amounts. So, if you'll look at that raise at-will pay, sorry, I have to switch my glasses. I cannot read that small. You'll see $2 is going to cost us $187,000. But it's really an issue with being competitive that I think we really need to do it. We focused a lot, and even when we did those raises for the teaching staff, the $5,000 and $2,000, we gave it to a significant raise to the at-will at that time. But what they're making in everywhere else in the world has just gone up so much more that we are just not competitive. And it makes us hard to keep employees. And that's the biggest issue. I mean, I can't tell you the number of employees that have come and gone this year. So that's why we're recommending what we're recommending. We also put on there, so you have to decide, we aren't recommending changing the teacher scale on any of them but the first 4, but I did also, in case you guys wanted to go ahead and change that teacher scale, I did put how much it would cost. We have 62 teachers, so it's pretty easy math to figure out if you increase the scale. Do remember, if you increase the scale, like if we increase it 300 this year and 300 next year, I mean, it keeps going up. It keeps, being exponential on each other. So that's what we're looking at. This other thing that I very briefly mentioned, if you'll look, you'll see not the Amarillo or Canyon. We're very competitive with all the schools that are our size, except for those first 4 years. So, did I miss anything, Jason? Okay, so questions for us?
I want to ask about the substitute pay.
Yes, sir.
So I get a lot of complaints, or I hear a lot of complaints about how come we can't do half-day, full-day. We got people that are driving to Amarillo to do substitution because they make more money over there. So if we're going to be competitive everywhere else, if a half-day, full-day is better for them and for us, I understand there's some periods that they may not be being utilized.
So you weren't here when we went to the hourly rate. The reason we went to the hourly rate was because of the Affordable Care Act. The way substitute hours work, we have to track them by the hour. And I know other schools don't do it, but other schools don't follow the law. So we have to track them by the hour, and we have to be able to say, okay, you can't, like, if they get more than 130 hours in a month, then they become a full-time employee. And the Obamacare rules apply to, the Affordable Care Act rules apply to them.
Pretty close.
And so-
Go ahead.
And so we made the decision back then to switch to an hourly rate. So we took our daily rate and did, okay, if you work 6 hours, this is what you would make hourly. And that's why we changed it that way instead of doing a half-day, full-day. Because even if you do half-day, full-day, we still have to put it into the books as an hour amount. And so we chose to do this just to protect ourselves from fines. Like one of the schools that does it similar like you were talking about, Hereford, 2 years ago got $400,000 in fines from the IRS for not handling their substitutes right. Now, we do multiple things to protect ourselves from those fines. So if you did say, okay, we do need to go half-day, full-day, we still have other protections. We're trying to do a multi-layered approach so that we never violate the law, so that we never get those fines. Then the other protections we do is every substitute has to decline the insurance, because it's all about were you offered the insurance, decline the insurance. So say if a substitute did get the Affordable Care Act policy, they did go over 130 hours, so we did violate the law. If we've offered them the insurance and they've declined it, then the fine is significantly less. I mean, we're talking hundreds of dollars, not, but there is still a fine. So, and has that ever happened to us? No. We have had somebody who was a substitute who did take an insurance policy off of the Affordable Care Act, but we were pretty good about making sure that they didn't become a full-time employee in a month.
So can you not track their hours even though you do half-day, full-day? I mean,
Yes.
a half-day worth of hours and a full-day worth of hours?
I mean, we can, but like I said, it will add some more restrictions that, like right now, you can have somebody work all the way up to the limit, but if you're doing half-day, full-day, then you'll have to, we won't be able to use them as much as necessarily, because if they're approaching the limit, it won't be by the hour, it'll be the half-day, full-day. Like I said, it's a decision we made several years ago. I mean, it's not written in stone. We just did it because of the Affordable Care Act. They, unfortunately, they got rid of, for an individual, like if I don't have insurance and I violate the Affordable Care Act, there's no longer a fine. For businesses, there still is the fine, and we still do have to track this. We have to, on a monthly basis, look at the hours of every person. So I mean, you're right, we could do it, and I'll tell you, if we do half-day, whole-day, the fines that we are going to be responsible for they're not going to be the $400,000 fines. We'd be hundreds of dollars.
Well, let me ask you this then, would it be cheaper to hire full-time aides to fill in as substitutes, as a part of duties, or, I mean, I don't know, I know we struggled, I know we was getting pretty close to running out, and I do know a lot of people are going other places to do it. So there's a lot of principles in here, so what do y'all hear? I'm just trying to help everybody out here. I'm not saying anybody's doing it wrong, I'm just asking a question.
Well, I'm just explaining why we went the way we went.
I'm not saying you did it wrong, I was just asking.
Yeah, no, that's like it changing this. I will say, well, I'll let you guys know.
What?
Okay, I was gonna say, we have tried that before and it didn't work out so well.
The full-time, whatever.
Yeah, hiring somebody for.
So what are we bumping up from on the substitutes?
I don't think you changed it at all, did you? No.
So we're gonna continue to run into that problem. I could be.
I mean, I think we will anyway, but what do we pay? Do you know about
The substitutes?
Right.
Yeah, it's $11 an hour and $13.50 if it's a long-term non-certified, $15.50 if they're certified. Yes. Well, they did.
Yeah.
If we do,
I didn't know, I didn't just know that some of them that are driving, Porter's gonna, or, I don't know, woman's going Amarillo. I can't see them making more money doing that, but
Doesn't make sense to me, but
there's a little prior inflation kicking in, but I'm just trying to think what can help best for those campuses. I mean, if they're struggling now,
how much do we struggle getting subs?
We did.
We do a lot. But, you know, I don't know what, because like even tomorrow, I need a half-day sub, and I have 11 available on my sub list, but they won't pick a job up at my school anyway, because when you work with elementary kids, you have to work all day and keep them busy. But, so I've had trouble with even, I mean, my aides are always subbing, and I've had trouble covering some spots my aides need to cover, because I'm having to constantly pull my aides to cover sub spots.
And for us, it's we call.
They don't answer, they hang up.
Can't work today, you got to pay other days tomorrow. So, and a lot of ours, like, they'll see who it's for, like, and if it's a class they don't want, they, like, this year, I think it was, she started out as an aide, she got put on the sub list, she signed up to sub 2 or 3 times at the high school, never showed up, and when we called her, she didn't answer.
And then she requested to be an aide again.
And I will say the sub problem is not a problem that's just for us.
No.
Every single school district.
I'm just trying to think about how.
No, I'm just
I
giving
don't
you
know that
information.
it's ever not been an issue. I don't.
There was a short time when we had like a ton of
Yeah.
subs, but that was a pre-COVID world.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
I
I
mean,
subbed for 8 years and it's not the money.
Mhm.
I mean, most of the ones
And I think
subbing
we
are
all
moms
have-
with kids are in school.
Yes, and
It's
we all
not the money.
probably have subs, like, I have some that are faithful and they'll come almost every time. And they probably all have, we all have some that favor our campuses, which are helpful, so we really try to pull them in. And it would also, I don't know if it's possible, but those subs who do sub for us more, if you could, can you pay subs different money depending on how much they help you?
I don't think that would.
Okay, I mean, that would be nice if you could, because some subs are very reliable.
Well, because I think you'll even back me up. We can't even get aides hired.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had aides come and want to quit because they spend more than them.
Probably longer,
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do.
we can't do
So what are the aides paid?
Currently, they're $10 is the starting pay for an aide. We're hoping you guys will approve bumping to 12.
I know they posted in September last year, the Emerald ISD was paying entry-level substitutes $132 per full day.
$113?
$132. I know we're nowhere near that, but still.
Yeah, but
That's why they're driving.
they're struggling. I mean, they're way short on pay, super short.
What would be the problem with paying subs more that do show up to work? What's the issue there?
I mean, you have to have an equity. You can't pay one position to one person the same amount and a different person the same amount. That would get us in trouble with the Department of Labor.
So, like, what I do in basketball for the refs, I just don't call the ones that don't do a good job or don't show up. And we pay the other ones, we pay everybody a fair share up front.
Well,
That-
one thing that we do too as principals, we sometimes, you know, when we have subs that we know are gonna show up more and some that never show, we ask some of the ones that never show to be removed from our list because we want the ones that do show up and work hard for us to get the calls, they get pushed up on the top.
So does it rotate?
I believe, I don't really know how it works.
I thought it was out there, and then if they wanted the job, they were, whoever the first one was to choose it.
Yeah. Or if it does the call thing,
Mhm.
that I believe that's kind of random, but there is supposed to be a rotation built into it. So like if you're the one that you haven't been called in a while, that you'll be
Moved up.
moved to the top.
It used to be too, if you were a good sub. I mean, I always had teachers request.
Mhm.
I want
No.
her in there.
And we do,
Well-
you know, if a teacher knows they're gonna be out, they want a certain sub, like Angie or one of the secretaries will
So, I mean,
specifically call that
if you're a good
sub.
sub, you're on the top of the list and you're who the teachers
Mhm.
request.
Right.
And I still say the price doesn't matter because your better subs are the ones that are gonna be there all the time. And their money's not why they're there.
So we did full-time aides/subs or subs/aide before,
So
like you hire on as a sub-aide.
We did one, And then what ends up happening is that, I mean, it's just an aid. I mean, so like she's saying now that, you know, she's pulling aids out of classrooms, and that's exactly what happens. It just becomes an aid that's you pull out of the classroom.
So if, and I'm just playing a game, play with me here, if you hired somebody and you said, look, you're a full-time sub / aide, right? Subs first, any campus, you know, it's work as needed. Would that be a problem? Would you get somebody hired?
I think they dropped.
The logistics of it, and it's been, like Edie was at the elementary last time we tried it, and I can't remember how long ago it was, but we did hire somebody specifically. We said, okay, and what ended up happening is they're just at that campus, whatever the campus because we have to pay them from somewhere, so they have a home campus, and they end up just being on that campus all the time.
And you might could find someone to do that, but thinking about the subs who are my, you know, frequent subs, they like being the sub because they can take the jobs when they want to and don't have to when they don't want to. But if you're full-time hire, then you have to be there every day. So really, it would almost be like they were an aide anyway. And hiring aides has been, I've gone through, I feel like 50 this year. I mean, Richard and Tanya never know who's working at my campus and who doesn't because
literally.
Well, I understand. I mean, if they go to Walmart and work for
yeah.
Well, and most
15 bucks
substitutes
an hour.
do it because they have other things they want
Right.
to do. There's
Right.
only certain days they want to
Right.
work. There's only certain,
Mhm.
I mean, you called me for the cafeteria when I was a sub,
Mhm.
not that day.
right?
Yeah, so
Kindergarten, I do.
Yeah.
that rate that you said, that was $16.50 an hour, assuming 8 hours. If it's,
Well, and it goes, and that's days 1 through 13, on 14th
Yeah.
day, you get extra 25, 15th day, you get 25.
But
So they have a pay scale.
They have a pay scale.
yeah.
that's their
They get
entry.
paid $5 a day for Friday.
But then they'll have to,
I mean, ours is 120, 1550, it's 124 a day. So, I mean, if you got a full day, you know, but that's their entry, which I know we can't do, I understand. But that's why I'm just trying to think if there's anything we can.
I mean,
And we're probably gonna have issues with subs no matter what. I'm worried about aides because I do have some aides right now that, you know, wanna stay on my campus, but because their kids are there, but they can't afford to really, and so they're kinda waiting to see what happens because otherwise they need to look for other stuff because they, you know, can't pay their bills.
and that's one of the reasons why we focused our attention on the at-will staff is because it's just, you know, with all the raising and everything, they're the ones that are hit the hardest. And they literally can go anywhere else and work and make more. And so that's why we focused on them. I mean, raising the subs isn't a horrible idea. It's not, I mean, we're not stuck on that figure at all. If you guys want to raise it as well, then that's great too. It won't cost us that much. But the focus really for us is on the aides because we have, I mean, when she said I don't know who was working on our campus, she's right. I cannot tell you who's currently working for us today at the elementary because it's been a revolving door.
I mean, I was just stirring the pot list, that's all.
Yeah.
so they're at how much? An 8 is at what per hour?
Right now they're at 10. We're hoping you go up to 12.
So no matter what, I think the age should make a little more sense.
I don't disagree.
So talking about the mid, and max.
Yes, sir.
You were talking about hiring somebody, people that had previous experience, say in maintenance.
Correct.
From a different district. And they've got 20 years experience, we hire them in as a year 1 employee.
Well, no, we hire them in, so like if they have 20 years experience, we hire them in slightly more than the midpoint.
Okay, so you give them like experience and.
Right. The problem is that with the old scale, the midpoint was, I mean, barely above because there was a $2 or $3 range in 30 years. So you get 10 cents a year for your experience, and that's the problem with the old scale. That's why we wanted to change it.
Hey, Joe's confused, sorry. Thank you.
And how many total substitutes do we have?
Oh, I
You
know.
know?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
How many do you have, Kim? About?
Oh, I wouldn't even know. It just depends on, I don't
What
see
day
all
it
of
is?
it. What? About how many show up? About 5.
So per day, you usually probably need 5.
No, I needed, on a typical day, I would need at least probably 2 to 3.
Yeah, I'd say typical.
With Reading Academy, with Reading Academy being a requirement, there are days I need 5 to 7. There have been days I've needed 12.
So an average of 5.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say when all the coaches are out on our campus, we're talking 7.
and for us, really, it's 2 to 3, but we got 2 that are really dependable, but they'll still at times not be able to show up. The third one just depends hit and miss, and then everybody else can't work.
This time of year is really hard
Yeah,
for everybody, you know, having things going on.
Worry about stock market more than that's coming, so.
Because we had, I think it was regional track.
Softball, baseball, regional
Softball,
track.
baseball, academics. There was one day we got hit, and it was like 3 different things were leaving early. And I needed 7 subs. And I probably had like maybe 4.
If that, yeah, probably 3.
I don't go back on this again, but Amarillo, they're facing the same problem.
They are.
Because they have 520 in their pool, and only about 20% of them actually show up.
And I think
And
that's.
they're missing 9 to 10% of their people a day.
That's with increasing.
That's with the
pay
increase.
60%.
Right, and that's paying them a lot, and that's why I'm saying, I don't think it's the money. It's just, that's part of substitute.
I think the money would help at this point. I mean, when you're paying $4 a gallon for a gallon of gas. I mean, I think money would entice me.
I don't think it would hurt to raise subs, but then you also, when you raise the aides, then they're here consistently and they don't leave us. And when we have consistent aides, they can help cover spots too.
Well, I don't take away from any of that.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm just talking about just them, just the subs. I just,
Yes. Oh, it wouldn't hurt. Nobody's been turning away money.
And then we're the aides, Mr. Truck.
So,
certainly speaking.
toward this plan, we're going
Yeah,
from,
so right now.
We go.
so the age is now going in auxiliary.
We did take out because the only one that was in 3 was the bus drivers, and we moved them up to 5, so we just got rid
No,
of
you're
3.
right. Yeah.
The aides are in 2.
And we still are paying for insurance for the bus drivers that we got.
Yeah, for a bus driver, we pay all of their insurance, which is an additional $90 a month, I think, that we pay for bus drivers.
So we're gonna pay our subs $12 an hour,
That's what I was just.
and then we're gonna pay our
Well, our subs are 11 right now.
11, right, and we're wanting to take them to 12.
We haven't recommended any change to
Okay.
the subs. That's y'all.
That's fine.
They were just talking about aides.
So then your aides are only paid $10 an hour.
Currently, correctly.
I'm not talking about touching anybody else's money. I just want to talk about this one.
I think we got it. I think we got it backwards though. I think we should be paying our aides who show up every day and are consistent. I think we should be paying them more than we pay somebody that comes in at random.
And when Jason and I were discussing it, that point did come up.
That's what I'm saying, no matter what we do, aides need to make more than the subs.
Right, absolutely. So if they're only making, if the sub is making 12, the aide needs to make at least 13.
So what drives from minimum to midpoint to maximum?
It's time, number of years of experience. So if somebody comes in with 15 years of experience, we'll give them the midpoint salary. If they come in with 30 years of experience, we'll give them the maximum salary. And it's not an actual maximum on at-will employees. We don't have if you make this, we stop giving you raises. Now, you do on the teachers scale, once they've been here for 34 years, they'll get that same amount for the rest. But we don't. That's the only time we look at this salary scale is when they very first are employed by the district.
And then as they get time in.
Yeah, then, each year we come to you and we say, hey, let's give the at-will X raise, and, like this year, we're saying, let's give them $2.
And you said that on your little chart here, the pay grade 3 is where the aides are at now?
They are at 2.
Or where they're going to be?
No, they're at 2. The only one we moved was the bus drivers were at 3, and we got rid of 3 and just moved them to 5. There used to be 6, which you can see on this one sheet has both the old and the new scale on it.
So you just.
So if you're having the same problem with the bus drivers, and you go from a 3 to a 5 with him, why would you stay at a 2 and just give them a $2 increase? Why wouldn't you bump their pay grade up to keep that from being a revolving door?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
So you're staying at a pay grade 2, just giving them $2.
Correct.
Bus drivers, you went from a 3 to a 5. Why wouldn't you adjust pay grades to stop that revolving door?
Because the bus drivers are getting paid at every district around us $19 an hour. And so we.
Well, that's the same concept though. I mean, you've got a revolving door there you're trying to stop.
Because a bus driver is a lot harder to get than an aide. That's why the bus driver, we're saying we need to pay more, because we have a chronic shortage of bus drivers, and not everybody can buy it or drive a bus. They have to have that CDL, they have to have the S&P endorsements.
Yeah.
Wiggins has got all that money.
Yes, he does.
Well, and that, if it wasn't for the coaches, honestly, we wouldn't be able to run buses. Because they help us out on a regular basis, so, I mean, you have 2 or 3 of them every day driving buses for us. So if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to bus kids.
And I think part of it too, maybe
Yeah,
for the guys that
available.
haven't been here, if you can tell us like pay grade 1 is.
Pay grade 1 is just the, and it's actually in here on the one page, but pay grade 1 is a bus monitor.
Okay.
I think that's the only, bus monitor and lunch monitor is pay grade 1. Pay grade 2 is our custodians, our cafeteria workers, our instructional aides, library aides. Pay grade 3 is our maintenance, groundkeepers, technology assistants, campus secretaries. Oh, we moved them to 4, not 5. Oops, my bad. So bus drivers, we moved to 4. I'm sorry. Well, okay, so it was the old 5 we moved them to, which is now 4 because we got rid of 3. That's so we moved bus. So pay grade 4 is bus drivers, cafeteria manager, campus beams coordinators. Pay grade 5 is the payroll clerk, the bookkeeper, and the superintendent secretary.
Yeah, you might want to get that out there just in case. New 5.
So the biggest need out of all this, after I just started that whole thing about that, is just aids, right? Is that mainly I mean, I know everybody, and yes, at will workers, yes, everybody, I get it. But as far as on the campus, the aids is the bigger problem versus the sub, right?
Yes.
Yep. And I would love to go up more than $2. I actually think an aid, even $2, I still think it's highway robbery what we pay them. But if you look at this sheet, that $2 increase in all the at-will staff, that's $187,000 in next year's budget. So if we go up $3, it's $280,000. I mean, we have limited funds, and so we have to be careful with what we do. So, and a $2 raise on somebody that's making $10 is a pretty significant raise. Yes, they can still make more at Walmart, but there are advantages to working for a school district. You get an aide gets Christmas off, summer off. You get to work with kids, and if you're a person that likes kids, so there are some advantages. So that working for a school district as opposed to working at Walmart, yeah, you can make more, but you got to sit there at a cash register for 6 hours in a row. And there's only 2 of them.
How much do they pay for themselves?
And you're doing it wrong.
And the way I arrived at these figures is I just took every one of our current employees, plugged it into I have a payroll template or a payroll spreadsheet that I use every year figuring up salaries. And I just plugged in a $2 change and a $1 change and multiplied it out.
So
half day, full day.
on this, so this is your recommendation, so if we make a motion on your recommendation, where the bus drivers move to pay grade 5, but that's
Well-
only 4, right?
You would make a motion to approve this,
That,
and the and it's in that, so
okay,
on the change document,
okay.
it was 5, but then we got rid of 3, and so it is confusing, but if
Yeah.
you would make a recommendation to do the compensation.
And so it's right in this one.
It is correct in there.
That's all.
Just out of curiosity,
Yes, sir.
BPA sponsored. Pretty good increase.
Well, she's kind of getting ripped off, don't you think? That's what I see. I mean, she had as many, more, well, actually, she had way more kids than what were in UIL.
Well,
I mean,
and-
the program, I agree, I mean, the program's done good over the years.
Well, and she spends a lot of time outside the school day. You know, they run the concession stands for the football games, you know, and she works with them on the weekends, and she spends a lot of time outside of the school day. And so that's why I felt pretty strongly about bumping her up, just because of the amount of time that she spends on her own.
Oh, yeah, I definitely
So-
agree, yeah, but I was just curious.
You know, because
What drove it?
honestly, I've felt for years that she's been getting, you know, taken advantage of, to be honest with you.
There's a lot of return on investment on that too.
Yeah.
They've done great, yeah. And
Yeah.
for the, I don't know how many years now, she's had somebody at nationals, or at least one kid at nationals.
Ever since my son has gone, didn't your son go to nationals? Ever since, I think there's been a kid that has gone to nationals. But the amount of kids that she has as opposed to UIL, or used to be in the UIL, was substantial.
And they've got a lot in UIL too. I mean, I'm not putting down
No,
anything else. I mean, I'm
don't
just,
take me wrong, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying that.
and, you know, if you look at UIL, we have several teachers that are sponsors and,
Right.
you know,
Right.
you know, it's really Mrs. Gray. You know, she has Mrs. Phillips that I think helps a little bit here and there. And so, but, I mean,
So what's the difference between the UIL sponsor per event versus the tournament attended? What is that? What was y'all paying for the tournament attended?
I believe it was 200, and, you know, it was just, what it was to get other teachers to go to the tournaments on the weekends to help out.
Yeah.
And so it really didn't work. I mean, it really didn't encourage them like it was intended to go. I mean, you still had the same 3 go every weekend, you know, and so, you know, that's why it was put in there originally. And so, you know, we'd rather, and you had some sponsors that would work for their kids, and they were only getting $100 but not going to the tournament, so they weren't getting that part. So, I mean, you know, it could go either way. I mean, I'm not sure, you know, because I didn't add that, and and it wasn't in the conversation when it was added to why we did it anyway. So, I mean, we used to just pay per sponsor because, like for Mrs. Lovejoy, for example, she may do 3 or 4 events, so she's gonna get $200 for each one of those events.
Right.
And so, I mean,
Yeah. I should.
Yeah.
No, I agree with all of that, I was just curious.
right.
How many events are in, Mrs. Gray's class?
Oh, there's a bunch.
They're like 10 or 15?
Oh, there's more than that.
like hundreds.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
There, yeah.
Because we don't even do them all. I mean,
I know there's all kinds of different ones to do.
Yeah, there's computer stuff, business stuff, speaking stuff, I mean, there's a ton.
Picture me. Sorry, man. I just went down an old road there.
Okay, So if we approve this, that 2,000 is in here already, and then the $2 in here, right?
Correct.
Okay, and then the stipends.
Yes. Now, the administrative raises are just, because in the thing, it says that it's going to be negotiated with the superintendent. So that's one of the other things that you guys typically decide on this night is what you're going to give the administrators. We have a lot of administrators moving around, so I didn't know how to do it other than I just took everybody's current salary, which totaled up to that $636,703, and then showed what it would be with each percentage point, how much it would cost the district. And Mr. Garrison is recommending, I don't remember what you said, for the administrators.
2%.
Now, that doesn't include the superintendent's salary since you guys set that separately.
Do we discuss admin?
If you do it as a group here, it's supposed to be an open session. If you do individuals, it would be an executive session.
Right, the only one that we do individuals.
So right now, if we do $2 for at-will, we do the 2,000 from 0 to 4, we're at basically 207. We gotta come up with $207,000.
Yes, ma'am. There is a slight increase in our funding, just by the formula for next year. It's like 400,000. But there's some stuff I'm gonna discuss later that we are not gonna have, we are gonna lose a little bit of funding. So, it'll probably be a wash. Plus, we have some employees that have many years of experience that are going to be retiring, and we probably won't replace them with somebody that has 40 years of experience as well. So there'll be some savings in our payroll for that as well. Because we actually have 2 or 3 with 40 years experience.
I know 2 for sure.
I was thinking it was 3, but I can't. Well, and yeah, we have a couple aides that have a lot of years as well. So we'll save some money, so it won't be, I can't tell.
I know, if you say it, that's something. Say that.
I would guess it would be about a wash, but if we went any higher than this, I would be a little concerned.
Every time we think it's gonna be really good, something falls apart.
Well, I'll cover that later. Because I do have some fun news. But.
Okay, awesome. So, just, we need to keep that in mind. I mean, you know me, I would love to give them all as much as we possibly can, but be careful.
So, you think this will be a wash, or approximately?
I mean, very, very approximately, because I just can't tell you right now, because, we don't know exactly who we're going to have for next year at this point. I can't tell you, I was just telling Mr. Garrison with the incredible rise in our appraisal values, I'm actually going to have to go get some help from, we've joined a group that's some accountants downstate that are really smart and stuff, and I'm going to have them help for me to calculate our tax rates this year, because it's just, I've never had it where we've had more than 10% rise in property values.
Well, I can tell you it's substantial.
It is. And so I can't give an accurate revenue figure at this time. My guess, and this is a pure guess, is it's going to be about a wash. from the money we're saved from the people who, with the large years, and from the additional funding that we're getting next year, just because of the form.
So will we won't get the appraisal, the increase in the appraisal money until the next year, right? 2 years out?
No,
The state withholds what they pay.
Yeah.
If the taxpayers pay it, the state don't pay it. We don't get a dime for it.
We get a little bit more because of our golden pennies, but it's not a significant sum. But
Not enough to count on it.
yeah, and well, what's really important is is it going to meet the state's property value studies so we don't lose money again like we did this year? So.
More than what they sent me about to.
So what information do you owe us? I mean, we've talked about so much here. Is there gonna be some more information you can come back with us on this conversation?
Not that I'm aware of.
You're saying you have some fun information for us?
Oh, later?
Yeah. Do we need to
Is it a negative or a positive thing?
A couple negative things. We lost our appeal on the property value study. Well, we won the $4,000, the $6,000 appeal and lost all the $100,000 appeals. So the $300 or $200 whatever thousand dollars that they took out of our funding, it's gone. So we won't get that back.
370.
Well, it was 370, but when I ran the latest template from Omar, it was only 270. So and I'll have to, because it's all based upon, it's all fluctuating based upon values, and so it's kind of complicated. Once again, that's why I'm going to have to get some counsel. The other thing, we'll have another maintenance project we're going to have to do that's going to be $50,000. Up to $50,000.
And you got a playground this month.
Yep. Well, but that'll be next year. I mean, I never intended for us to try to hit the other playground this year.
Well, we've got people that want to help pay for it.
I agree. And Chad's jumping at the bit for me to get him the plans. I'm too busy doing all this.
I've got about 3 or 4 other companies that want the same thing,
So, and we'll have them for the, I hope to have it for the whichever workshop, whether it's this month or next month's workshop, I will have the plans available for you. So, but those are the two things. We have a maintenance project and I'll discuss it later. Well, I can discuss it now if you want me to.
Well, I think it's information we need to have.
Okay, so
we'll make a decision on that.
we were told that the high school has no asbestos in it, and that was not accurate. There is asbestos in the end of the high school in 4 classrooms. Now, it's the tiles, so it's not loose asbestos, so it's not an environmental hazard until you go to replace those tiles, because once you start grinding up the glue, that makes it airborne and it makes it an environmental hazard. Well, those tiles are coming loose, so we really need to replace them, but we're gonna have to have it abated first. And so I have the tile tested. Even though we were told that there was no asbestos, we looked at the tile and we went, let's be sure. And so we had it tested, and it is asbestos tile and asbestos glue. So it has to be abated. Now, the inspector, which is the same guy that did the mold inspections for us, he said that because of the way those roofs are, it should not cost. He's like, if they bid $50,000 on it, then you should go to somebody else and get them to bid on it. He's like, it shouldn't cost $50,000. So I'm hoping it's more like $30,000. It's 4 rooms of tile. It's not the hallways. So and all they have to do, they don't have to rip out walls or anything like that we did at the elementary. All they gotta do is take up the tile.
We're gonna do that this summer?
I hope so.
And then how much to replace it?
I'm sorry, what?
About how much to replace the tile?
Last time when we did 4 rooms, it was about $12,000.
So 50 to remove, 12,000 to reinstall.
I really don't think it'll be 50. I think the total cost for the project will be 50.
And don't we have tile that we can use?
No.
Well, we don't.
We do not. So we'll have to purchase tile. But tiles, it's the labor that's the expense, not the tile. Well, and that $12,000 was with them coming in, ripping out old tile and putting in new tile. They're just going to have to put in new tile. So I mean, the ripping out is the labor-intensive part. I bet it won't be $5,000 to put in a new tile.
How long does it take to get tile now?
Not long.
So
matching tile, that's a different story.
with the information you need to get with the accountants and for the tax rate stuff.
Yeah, we won't have that until late July. So we have to make this decision before we know that. That's why we're just gonna have to assume that it's, I mean,
You know
I
what
can
happens
just
when
give you
you
a
assume?
best guess.
We have to make, which is this, on the compensation plan?
Yes, because we can't wait till July 25th. If you wait till July 25th, I can't have a budget for you by the end of August. It takes time to go and to plug these in.
How long is it gonna take to get bids for asbestos abatement?
I'm hoping we'll have it next week.
So can we table this until the next meeting? I don't want, because I want teachers and aides and everybody to know sooner than better, but I don't want to go to some bad spot either. We could meet in a couple of weeks.
Can I make a devil's advocate thing here? I mean, we still have a significant fund balance and 50,000. I mean, that's why it's there.
Well, you still got another 75 in windows.
But probably, now the architect is working up the bid for that. Yeah, you're right, we have a bunch of other projects, but
I just don't want to rush into
But
a
if you look,
decision.
if you look right now at your report you're fixing to talk, we're already in the hole for 400. In the hole this year, so.
it won't end up being 400 because we don't spend everything. But, my point is that we need to increase these salaries to keep people.
Oh, I agree.
And so if 50,000 is gonna,
I don't think 50,000,
yeah, because it's not gonna be more than
That 50's the cap.
that. Like he said, 50, if you get 50, you need to go somewhere else, is what he said.
okay, I'll hold your feet to the fire.
I mean, you don't have
I
to.
just think we need total transparency here, so we understand.
Right, I mean-
what's coming up. I mean, I agree, we need to make a decision on this, but we also need to have an informed decision.
I wasn't trying to hide anything, Rusty.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I took great umbrage with that statement.
I don't think he meant that you were trying to hide anything. I just want to make sure that everything is, that we have everything on the table so that we can make a good decision for the district. And I think you do a great, absolutely great job with everything that you do. So,
No, I do too. We're asking questions to make sure we're informed on the decision we're making. I don't think you were having, I think.
Right.
no, absolutely not.
None of us directed to you personally, I promise.
Okay.
Absolutely not. We just want to make sure that we have everything on the table so that we get everything.
We're elected to do a job.
I'm giving you all the information I got.
Yeah.
So,
You're doing good, man. I appreciate
It's
it.
just a lot of information to process.
I get you.
In a short amount of time.
I
I've been out of
understand.
town and I haven't been able to do my due diligence, but
The thing is you deal with it every day and it just clicks to you. And then when we see it, we're like, wow, that's a significant amount of money, but you see it in a different perspective than we do. You just do.
I think of it as different pockets is the
Yes.
difference. I see things in pockets.
And we see
You know me,
things,
I'm just worried about that one pocket.
You're worried about the bottom line, yeah.
and we see a pocket because we don't deal with it every day. I mean, you see it in a different light than we see it, so we just
But-
want to make sure that we
That-
understand what we're
Yeah.
looking at.
Those were the only things I had, is that we failed, that our appeal didn't pass, and that we are gonna have to abate some asbestos.
Okay, I apologize, Mr. Ryan. I apologize out loud, but I just want the information. We gotta make an informed decision here. Right now, things are incredibly tight everywhere all over the world. I mean, everybody's budgets are tight. These people need a raise. They need a raise. Just to survive, they need more. We need to do everything we can. And my whole reason behind this is, if we do with the $2 an hour raise, we have the funds available to go with the 3. And maybe they deserve more.
And that is just a decision you'll have to make. And because we won't have any more additional information before you need to be able to set the salaries. You have a lot of your staff that starts in July, and so And, yeah, we can set the salaries beyond July, but it's just, it's a matter of time to get it all done, is it? And we actually are bringing this to you a month earlier than we normally do, because Mr. Garrison requested that we get this to you early. So that's why we're bringing it to you this month. Normally, we bring this to you in June. But,
You're a June person, though. Are you not?
I'm a July person.
Okay, so we changed it.
No, I've always been July.
I thought you were a June.
July 1st.
So we don't have any more Junes?
No, we've never had a June.
Oh, I thought we had a June.
Aides are at the pay grade 2, they're at $10 an hour right now. So that's a 20% increase.
For the starting pay, yes.
Right, yeah.
So as far as the aides would go, depending on their experience, they could be get more than $2.
No.
No, so it just.
Well, I will, one of the things I've discussed with Mr. Garrison is that we will have to look at all of our current employees. And if you have somebody that's worked with us for 20 years and our new schedule at 20 years is higher than what they're making, I think it's only fair that we bring them up to what the new schedule is. So you may have a few outliers that we'll look through and we'll raise a little bit more than $2. But only if they're beneath the schedule. And I've spot checked, I haven't found anybody that's that case. Typically, it's the opposite. They're way above the schedule, which is fine. But the people I'm thinking of is the maintenance guy that I just hired with 20 years experience. And now we do a brand new schedule that has like $4 more in 20 years. We probably need to go ahead and bump him up to what the schedule is, because he's literally worked here a week.
So, do we know comparatively what we pay versus, say, with this increase, what Border, Cement, schools around surrounding area districts, do we know?
I do not know what their at-will, they don't publish their at-will payrolls.
Because because my thought is, if we knew that, we bump the teachers up, that 2%, that puts us, which we're right back to where we were, right? With schools comparative to our size, we're above, or we're equal to, besides Canadian. But if we're not, if we need to go more for the at-will, is that just a big no-no, am I being unfair, or, because I know what a fair is, but.
We're not gonna be able to pay what's the current, like Walmart and Target and everything, we're just not gonna be able to. And so the reason that we chose $2 is that's a figure that we think that we can afford. And $3, if you can always go back next year and add another $1 if we ended up having a better, but if you've gone up $3, you really can't come back $1. It's pretty hard to do that.
That was kind of my question. If we don't buy a school bus next year, that's $100,000. And if we just do the 2 and see how it works out.
We really have to buy a special ed bus.
Do it.
Oh, yeah, ours is on
$85,000 for that.
But it'll be in next year's budget.
It'll be in next year's budget. The year after, we can not buy a bus.
For now. For now. One of these days.
So let me make sure I got this right. So on a sub, we would pay them 11, and for an aide, we would pay them 12.
That's our current recommendation.
Okay, so I just want
You
to
guys
make
can
sure.
change it. That's our current recommendation.
So all this reflects all the changes?
Correct.
And that at 2 and 2, the $2 for the at-will, and the 200 for
2%.
2%.
No, teachers would be
No.
stepped.
What it reflects is changing those first 4 years
Oh, right, that's right.
and the change of the scale. The $2 for that.
So back to the initial, you're telling me half-day, full-day, that's where this all started. Now we're just coming full circle. You need to tell me yes or no.
You can go to half-day, full-day if you want. We'll still have to track it hourly. And And we do risk having some minimal fines,
Yeah.
but they're minimal. They're very small.
What's the benefit of 1.5 day, full day versus hourly?
I don't know.
Well, let's
Half
say,
day makes it more appealing for the sub.
yeah,
Because if they know they're gonna get paid for half a day,
especially
They're gonna
depending on what
take the job.
classes they take. Because like, say somebody has a conference period in the morning and they get a half day morning, then they only actually work 3 classes but get paid for 4. Right now, they only get paid for the 3.
and most coaches that leave to go somewhere, they miss the last 2 periods of the day. No sub's gonna come in for 2 periods and get paid $15, $20, whatever it is, to get fluffed up, pretty. 2 periods, go home. If they know they're getting half a day, then they can cover the whole half day. But that's just the nature of the beast. You can blame UIL and everybody else.
So we're paying them for time they're not here, which hurts us, but it encourages them to come.
Which, you know, a lot of times too, though, you know, they may work for that teacher for 2 hours, but we might be able to move them over to this classroom to cover these 2 periods as well. I know that, you know, when I worked at the high school, that Lydia did a good job of moving people around, so that way we weren't just paying this sub for 2 hours and, you know, they would get a full half day, so.
She still does that.
Yeah, so,
And we all try to do that, but
mean,
most of them
sometimes
kind of
you
like
can't.
to do just their job they signed up for and be done, and not have to be put somewhere else they weren't choosing.
So if you pay them for a half day and the teacher has a conference hour that time, could you move them somewhere else if you need them, or?
Mhm.
Would that help y'all as far as,
We do that now.
We do it now anyway because we need them everywhere.
It's 6 one way, half dozen the
But
other.
that's also, some of the subs know that we do that, so they're like, no, they're really good.
Yeah. They don't like us to do that, but we'll do it.
But after the second time you call them for a half day and then you move them, they're like, I got
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Okay.
We kinda-
so we're basically not doing anything different if we did that.
They just get paid.
They just
The
be
incentive
hourly
for the half
paid.
day is they get paid for a true half day. They're not getting all that up and up. That's my opinion.
And there's always the chance that they come in for a teacher, and I've only got 1 or 2 teachers out, and say one of them's a coach, and I don't need coverage, they could work 2 periods and get paid.
But they would get paid half a day.
Correct.
But if they happen to come in on a day where I've got everybody out, we're gonna move them.
This year, I have short enough coaches. If they wanted to coach, I'd put a whistle.
So how would we keep,
You've been busy.
my question on that is if they got paid for a half a day, how would we keep track of it? Or would it'd just be a half day or a full day period, right?
We still have to have clock ins, clock outs as required by the Affordable Care Act.
Okay,
They're not clock ins, a timesheet.
Right, so then they would just get paid for a half a day or a whole day.
Yep. And we'd have to track the number of hours they actually work.
If we made that decision now, would that be something we have to?
So we would just amend and that's what we did last year. You guys made some changes to this last year, so the motion was that we pass the compensation plan as amended. And so if you guys want to change something, we just change something in here and then we would pass it as amended.
So is that an accounting nightmare?
It won't be. I mean, we already have them track the amount of hours they spend, so I mean, the only difference will be how we pay them. So it won't, it'll actually probably make it easier.
It entices me a little bit more. I mean, it wouldn't entice me if I was gonna get paid a little bit more for,
But you have to decide the rates, if you can do that. How much do we want to pay them a day?
instead of the 12 or
Yeah.
11, yeah.
We need to set a daily rate.
You would just do it hourly, 4 and 8?
Use your same scale, just.
So do 4,
Because I thought you said you were gonna have to do it hourly anyway.
we're gonna have to track it, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it for 1 because the high school schedule starts at 7:38, and the bell for lunch at the high school will get out to 12:33. So if you're gonna do a hat, you see what I'm saying? So that's where the semantics come in on that.
So a half day is really not.
It's kind of strategic. That's another reason that the hourly is almost beneficial. There's pros and cons on both of them.
And in my case, it depends on what grade
Because
level
I'm telling you, you got a
half day.
teacher that's got a class period, 60
No,
period, that's
okay,
5 times a month.
accounting would be a nightmare.
Okay.
Half day for my campus is different every,
I do payroll, done it for 20 years, that would be a
But if
nightmare.
you think about it, they get done at, the bell rings at 3:40, high school. So you don't want them coming in at 12:30 and going to 3:40, because that's way less than the average in the morning.
And then you'd have to set it, well, if you're working at this school, or you're working at this school.
Yep.
You're working.
I'm not voting.
I'm saying that's not a good idea.
if you raise their hourly rate, that's still enticing.
Yeah, I think so.
What do you think, Chad?
And like you said, most of the time you try and move them around if possible. And if that person doesn't want to move around, they're fine with that. I would.
You make more work of it doing a half day, full day, because they're not really the way they're split.
We raise the substitute. Figure out what that'll put on that, if we approve this, then raising the substitute, but I'm making the same amount of money as the aide would. Shut it off.
Your sub will be at 11 and your aide will be 12.
So it's currently at 11.
I don't know if you can say a minimum number of hours for subs per day.
But if you're tracking them by the hour, you would want to pay them by the hour anyways. And if you're utilizing them
By the hour.
and moving them around and they can work a whole day, you're going to work them a whole day anyways, right? So then they're going to clock out and have 8 hours.
However many, depending
Instead
on
of-
what campus you're at.
Right.
It was a lot easier before the Affordable Care Act.
Mm-hmm.
A lot easier.
But then they can't get too many hours.
I say leave it like it is for now. It's too complicated. I mean, and if not, at least let Jill and them kind of talk about it and y'all figure out how you would do it if we changed it. I'm not changing it and then her have to deal with that without, looking at it.
I'll do whatever the board wants to do.
It's not something that's going to extremely change the outcome of participation in it. Just leave it as is. I didn't think it'd turn into an hour conversation, but.
We covered a lot in that hour.
We kind of got off my topic, which is good. So if that doesn't improve the quality of it and the quality of people you get, then, I mean, it's fine. I just wanted to have a conversation about it. If that's what everybody feels it doesn't or won't.
I make the motion to approve the 2022-2023 compensation plan.
Okay, I have a motion by Logan. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Chad. All in favor? Opposed? None. Motion carries.
Now, the only question I have is about the administrators.
We're doing two.
You don't have to,
Yeah.
you just tell us what you want, a percentage.
Y'all want to do the percentage, the 2%?
And that one you can actually table if you want to come back to that one. That one's a lot easier. I mean, it's a small number of people.
And we have to discuss Jason's then.
Or you don't even have to table it. You can just tell us later if you want to on that one. Because the number of people that affects is not significant.
We can do that. Make sure that we put that on.
It's on the workshop.
It's on the workshop.
Yeah, when we do my evaluation.
Yes, okay. We'll make sure. So what do y'all think about the 2%?
I'd say table
Yeah, so table it till.
till next meeting.
You'll do the workshop? Okay. We're gonna table the admin raises at this time.
Great idea.
Okay. Who is gonna do the, well, I guess that would be you, Richard, on the budget amendment for the child nutrition.
It's just, that I discussed with you in a previous meeting how the amount of income was just massively greater, and so is our expenditures, including just expenditures for food and stuff. Now, I am gonna spend, I told you guys I'm replacing some equipment, but this, as of this meeting, that was how much we had over revenue and expenditures over what we had anticipated at the beginning of the year. So, and we're increasing revenue and expenditures both, so it doesn't change the bottom line.
And we got the extra revenue from where, remind me?
Because TDA has been paying a much larger rate per meal reimbursed this year because everybody's free. So not only do we have much more participation, we have more people eating, we're getting paid at a higher rate for those meals.
I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, do I have a motion?
I move to approve budget amendment for child nutrition.
Have a motion by Rusty. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Doug. All in favor? Opposed? None. Motion carries. All right, let's discuss the possible action on property, auto, and liability coverage insurance.
This is we discussed the interlocal agreement allowing us to do the insurance at a previous meeting, and this is the insurance rate for this year. It went up to $146,619, which when I very first started this, it was like $60,000, but it just goes up every year. It's actually a smaller increase than they told us it was going to be. And once again, we go with TASB because TASB has several $1 billion sitting in a bank account. It's the organization of TASB, as you guys know, is the school board organization. So it's actually your organization, but their risk management fund has a large amount of money sitting out there to pay payments. And we've seen other companies that have just gone under. Like I think I told you guys last time about the Dumas, how they had some damage and their company went under and just said, sorry guys, you get to pay for it all yourself. So that's why we've gone with TASB each year.
Do you remember what it was last year?
I don't have the exact figure. It was 120 something. Yeah.
So they really go up that much, about 20 grand.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I just
No,
didn't
that's
bring that
fine.
figure with
I
me.
just didn't know if you remembered or not. But it did go up, like they said, right?
Yeah, they were telling us 150 plus is what it was going to be, and it's not that much.
Okay.
And that includes everything, liability, if somebody steals money from us, that you get it back from them, automobile accidents, like the bus accidents. And TASB's been really good about, the only time we've had any problems with TASB is when they had the mold issue, and, getting money out of them was like pulling teeth on that one. But like on the bus thing, I guarantee you they spent $1 million on that accident. They didn't. That's where one increase came from recently. But we have in the history, and I don't have that paper with me, but in the history of our membership with the TASB RMF for our insurance, they have paid out far more than we've ever paid in. So it's for a small school like this, us, it has just been a good thing.
Any questions?
So where it talks about automobile liability, damage collision, deductibles, it says automobile, is that including all vehicles?
Yeah, like includes the trailers, even the mowers.
Okay.
I have a list, and it's anything basically that moves.
So it's, the deductible's the same on any vehicle?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Okay, do I have a motion?
I move to approve property, auto, and liability insurance coverage.
Motion by Doug, do I second?
Second.
Second by Mike. All in favor? None opposed, motion carries. Okay, let's start with Mr. Pearson for the campus reports.
As far as us, our biggest thing is we go through STAR right now. We started on Tuesday, finished today with all the grades. Thursday and Friday is just going to be the 8th grade finishing off with science and social studies. As far as the pictures, last time we had our meeting, Mr. Ryder had asked for a video of our GT project from Mr. Greg Seabird, so I've got some video for you. So
Okay.
Get that going here in a second. You go ahead and go, Felix.
On the video?
Yes. This was their, as they were getting together, this is the jobs that they were trying to guess what they were gonna do. We had to change locations because the one we were gonna use was being used by some other students and of course, some of the young ladies were a little bit shorter than some of the others, so they had to run some of those back so they could see. I got in here just a little bit late because I was taking care of regular duties for breakfast. They're almost done with this one, guessing the professions, and they were getting ready to start doing their invisible ink, figuring out the message. This ended up taking us 2 days because Mr. Seabird made the puzzles kind of hard. Curious, can you fast forward that real quick? Yeah, right now. This is where they started going after the black light. He had done invisible ink on the papers, and he said, make sure with all these papers, you're going to see a message on the torn pieces of paper. A lot of them didn't realize that some of the pages were torn, some of them were cut, so they're trying to get everything fitted. And so, but they ended up doing themselves, they did a great job. Like I said, it took them a couple of days to get everything done. They did a really good job. We put everything together really well. And then, like I said, for our STAR test, we're finishing up on Friday. We should be getting our results back on the 23rd because the closing window for us until the 20th. We'll end up having having them come in next week. They had missed this week to take their test. Especially the 8th graders. The 6th and 7th graders that didn't make it on Monday or on Tuesday or Wednesday, we're going to try to pull them out of class the next couple of days. We're going to take theirs. That way we can see what's going on there. We have as much information as possible to get them going on what needs to be done. So we're going to have our junior high awards assembly on the 17th. We send out invitations to parents. We're going to be doing it by grade level just because the cafeteria isn't that big. And as the day goes on, my voice gets a little bit lighter and lighter. So that way everybody can end up seeing it, everybody gets recognized. We're not only going to have certificates for them, but we've got individual pins for the kids that were in athletics, the top Eagles, stuff like that. That will be something different for them this year. Of course, we got our semester test on the 18th and 19th. Like I said, we're just really working hard trying to finish off these STAR tests and get them all taken care of. So, student council did a great job for teacher appreciation last week. They had something for the teachers every day. And then on that Friday, we ended up catering the staff a meal. That way they can have something. For us, it's a little bit different because we have 2 lunches. So about half of them go to first lunch, the rest of them go to second lunch. But the staff does a great job. They need as much recognition as possible. And we had staff, I'm talking to everybody, teachers, paraprofessionals, the cafeteria staff, our custodians, they all do a great job, so. So that's one of the reasons I didn't worry too much about any type of data this week is because our big day is coming up here on the 23rd. We're gonna see how it works, see how it worked.
Okay, good deal. All right, Ms. Searles.
All right, so first couple pictures in your packet are from our fourth grade field trip. They went out to Lake Meredith to have their water safety day like they've had in the past, and the National Park Service does a great job of putting that on. They provide everything for free for us. They bring the canoes, they bring the helicopter, they have a Park Service boat, and all different scuba equipment, and the kids get to try and be in everything, and then every kiddo gets a free life jacket. They leave with a life jacket, and they feed them hot dogs, and so it's a great service that they provide to our kids, and they love it. And so,
Was the rattlesnake extra?
yeah, the rattlesnake was extra. That was a free activity we got to experience this year. Thank goodness they found it before we got there. Second grade, they went to the Discovery Center this year and we got to participate in all the activities, and they had some science-based activities for the second graders too. I'm trying to remember what they did. I don't remember. They had a science activity for the second graders. This is the only time I wish I was a bus driver, because Coach Moose got to go to every field trip because he drives a bus, and I got to stay and do all his duties every time he got to go have fun. So I would be a bus driver to get to do that part because they have a great time. Third grade went to West Texas A&M University to the museum and got to go through all the different exhibits and the old town downstairs, and got to learn about the history of the Panhandle, and so that was really fun. We've had a lot of field trips. We've been STAR testing this week as well. Tomorrow we have a science test for 5th grade, and then we will be finished for the week. Other than our track meet that we have Friday, which is hopefully going to go off without a hitch. NWEA data, Felix, if you'll pull that up real quick. I went ahead, I did not have time to make the nice little bar graph like I did in the middle of the year because our NWEA data closed Monday, and then we were in STAR testing Tuesday, Wednesday, and so it's just been too hectic. But I did throw the charts that come from the actual the NWEA group. And this first one is the math test, and basically the pie chart at the bottom shows the amount of growth that we've had. I mean, this still shows the growth we've had over the year for each grade level. The little triangle or the little diamond, I guess, rhombus is the projected growth, where we should be projected, and then the bar graph is where we actually met. And so most grade levels, either hit it or above it. First grade was a little below, 4th grade a tad below, and 5th grade a tad below, but I still feel reflectively that our STAR scores are going to be above all of that, because NWEA hits a little bit different data. It's not all TEKS based, it's some other data. When we look at our benchmark tests that we've had as far as from our DMAC data, our benchmark scores are amazing right now for 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, and I really feel confident that our STAR scores are going to be really good. This is probably the first year I've been excited to get STAR scores, and so I feel like we're going to do a great job. And so I don't think that these reports are truly reflective of the actual scores for our teachers and our data, but we are showing growth. The next page is the reading scores. As again, kindergarten does not do a reading NWEA test because they use a different state mandated test. It's called a Texas KIA, and that's a whole nother report that I didn't want to bring out. It's confusing. But 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th were really either above or right at the targets where we needed them to be for reading growth as well. There's a lot more data in those little charts if you want to read those individually on your own time. But that is where our data looks right now. STAR scores, again, like he said, come out May 23rd, and we will be contacting every parent. We'll send a letter out for parents so they can get those scores, and hopefully we won't make many phone calls. Any student that does not meet the target, we have to call them, and based on a House Bill 4545, we have to set up meetings and set up summer school. That's how we're going to handle part of it. Summer school hours for students who did not meet the expectation. They have to have 30 hours per test that they did not meet, and so we'll get part of it in the summer, and then we'll have to finish part in the school year because there's no way to physically get that many hours for every student. Because there's also caps on the numbers of students you can put in groups, and number of teachers and aides to volunteer for hours. And so hopefully we won't have many that we have to worry about that with. That's my projection, is it'll be a minimal number. All right, upcoming events, like I said, Friday we have our, well actually tomorrow we have AR parties and STAR testing. Friday we have track meet. Monday we have math fact parties and Little Eagle rallies. Tuesday we have fun in the sun. Wednesday we have class parties and pre-Ks walking to the library. I put walking to the party because I'm in party mode, I guess. Seniors are going to do their senior walk May 18th. 5th grade's going to walk following the seniors. We have kindergarten graduation. There's something every single day between now and the end of the year.
Okay. Sounds like you're way busy.
Yeah. It's busy,
Right.
busy.
It's been what?
It's busy, busy, but
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
the kids they're about to get to have the fun part of the hard work they put in, and they really have put a lot of heart, and our teachers, they've put in so much hard work and they're tired, but that's one reason I'm excited to see the STAR scores, because I think everything we've been doing from kindergarten, pre-K up is, you know, working and
Good.
gonna show, I think.
Good deal. All right, Mr. Vanderpool.
Okay. Felix, if you would. First page of the board report, we've got Sadie Williams down at regionals, some students of the month. And if you didn't get to see the BPA quote send-off and state UIL qualifier send-off, that's what that is over there on the right. They were leaving at 6 a.m. the next morning, so we did something for them the day before. We also had a welcoming party back for as well as they did, and several parents came up. I think I posted some pictures on Facebook. I don't have them in the board report. Does that happen afterwards, Felix? With the Lord? Baseball finished up, some more students of the month, and then we did our awards assembly pretty early. Main reason for that was the seniors aren't going to be here next week, provided that they're completely done, which there's a couple I'm worried about, but for the most part, they're all ready to go. So Friday will be their last day at the campus, and then they've got their senior activities the last week, like the senior breakfast, baccalaureate, senior slideshow, culminating with graduation at 8 p.m. the 20th. Scroll down, Felix. Softball was district champs. Athletic banquet there, picture, it was done really well. I'll let Coach Wiggins expound on that though. And then there's a picture of Stetson Raker run as well. Scroll down, Felix. Attendance stayed pretty steady, about 92% for the year, little 91.5 I think is what it was. And then the second one, we'll scroll down, Felix, is the month of April to the first week in May, and it was actually above 92%. So it was nice to actually eclipse that 92% mark with getting through sickness and COVID and everything like that. Still not where I wanted, but we'll get there. Scroll down, Felix, we'll go to the upcoming activities. You've got the senior activities. May 16th, we got the senior breakfast at 10 a.m. at the youth center. They're doing their graduation picks over here May 17th. Senior walk, as Mrs. Searle said, at the elementary on Wednesday at 8:45. May 19th, baccalaureate senior slideshow. Also, Mr. and Ms. SFHS will be named there as well. Graduation. We've been busy STAR testing, so I didn't put any data in this one. We did algebra on Tuesday, U.S. history today, and biology is tomorrow. And I will mention that in this graduating class, we do have some kids that I was not real sure that they would get done, but they did get done. And I'm proud of those kids, some non-traditional students. So grading runs, you said what, Friday? So I put that on there as well. And we're wrapping up the year. We're planning on probably looking at House Bill 4545. If we can do some in the summer, we're going to do them. but we're also looking at either extending the tutorial period to be an entire class or finding some ways to do some House Bill 4545 tutorials in next year's schedule. I did have a pretty frank talk with the algebra classes, which, you know, that's a lot of the freshmen, just to kind of give them a heads up. And I know it was kind of a scary talk to some of them, but I didn't mean it that way. I just wanted them to have a realization of what could occur with that House Bill 4545 setup. So that's pretty much all I got. If you have any questions.
Any questions? Okay, Coach Wheaton.
Regional golf, I don't know if they got added on there, because I actually, believe it or not, was not here Thursday or Friday. I was tardy on getting that to it, but I'm glad that Mr. Garrison added some pictures on there. The biggest thing, the highlights of the spring. Regional golf, our girls team and boys team both advanced. If you went to the athletic banquet, all of this was recognized. Rusty did a great job. Celebration was a great venue to do it. I appreciate Dwight and all them letting us do it. I have not heard a single parent or a single kid say one negative thing about that venue. Hopefully they'll allow us to continue to do that in the future, because it was just a community thing. You know, it was a big thing for the community. There was a lot of people that showed up. But like I said, regional golf advanced. Danner Price won district in golf. So the boys team advanced and the girls team advanced to regionals. In softball, our softball team won district. Got a first round bye because the district down south only had 3 teams in it. Last year we finished second district, wound up winning our first round, getting to the area round, but we had a gold ball to show for it. This year our gold ball came being district champs, didn't get a gold ball by district, and wound up losing an area, same round we lost last year. But like I said, that district down south, the first round was a pretty easy round, but we didn't get to play anybody. Second round, you run into some teams down in the Permian Basin and Odessa area, and they play softball a lot. And so that's something we're going to have to overcome, and something that we're going to have to fight for next year. We got a bulk group coming back. We graduated 2 seniors off the softball team. Baseball team wound up finishing third, but played for a district championship on the last game. Sit down with the boys this year in all athletics. Our boys team sports, football, basketball, and baseball, finished third district in every single one of them. That's good and bad. Some of the kids were ecstatic that we finished third. So that's kind of a shame on them, but I guess it's better than what they've done, so they felt it as a victory. We don't need to make sure that that's our standard of excellence, and I made that very clear to them. So, you know, the biggest statement we made to those kids, if they're happy and content with the results that they've had this year, it's because they're happy and content with the work they put in. And they don't deserve to beat anybody unless they outwork them. So if they're wanting to improve their results, it's a direct proportional relationship with how much work they commit. And that's been preached and preached and preached. So as you know, as we've had a great year as far as we got the ball rolling in the right direction, but we need to make sure we're setting the standard of excellence extremely high and shoot for the stars. And if we hit them, great. But if not, we're shooting at where it needs to be. And so, like I said, baseball did a great job. Also, they wound up finishing third in district. We did beat first round by Wellington. I was really pleased with how we played our second game in baseball. The first game, we wound up getting run ruled, didn't play well, and we had our ace on the mound. Second game, we didn't have our ace on the mound, but we battled. Wound up going to full 7 and came back from a deficit. You know, even though we had errors, kids just never gave up in that game. And so I was happy how they finished the season. Track had 12 boys that advanced to the regional track meet, and 5 or 6 girls that advanced to the regional track meet, which is way up from last year. It was great for those boys to see it because all but 2 boys are coming back. Only one of them competed, and on the girls' end of it, got them all back. So that's a good thing. And then, of course, y'all heard earlier, Brady's going to state. And that hadn't happened since, I think it was Andrew Reynolds, that went to state in the 100-meter dash as well. So that's the last group that went through to Austin. So athletic-wise, I'm pleased on the year. I will say that. The kids have bought in and really went that direction, but it is a constant battle, a pursuit of excellence, and the kids need to know that, and that's all we preach from the coaching staff. Proud of our coaches. They put in a lot of work this year. Proud of everybody, and I'm proud of the community buy-in, because it's been fun watching the community rally back. You've got a bunch of old has-beens that used to come up and talk about how good they were, and I like to hear it, because at least you got some people involved. And I firmly believe that if you really want to maximize how good a community can be, you get people involved. And that hasn't been a problem this year. People want to help, and it's just nice having that support. So we're looking forward to closing that out. Summer workouts will start May 31st, so we're giving the kids kind of a break in between. We'll still work out during the athletic period, but morning workouts will start May 31st for not only high school but incoming junior high kids, girls, boys, all of them. So if you want your kids to get off the Xbox, if you want them to get out here and get their workout in so they can get better and make themselves better athletes, that's what our coaches are all about. So, is there any questions y'all have for me going forward, scheduling wise or anything like that?
I just want to add to what you talked about. We had, the best count I got was 250 attendees.
Great turnout.
Great turnout.
Very supportive.
Great guest speaker. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
Jared came and spoke. I'll touch on that. Like I said, I coached with Jared, but I wanted somebody to talk that would relate to some of our kids, because y'all know our demographics and y'all know what our kids go through. He could probably relate as good as anybody. He's a guy that I coached with, and I didn't know him until I went to River Road. He's a principal at Tascosa right now, but he talked about his life. Basically, it was a good testimony, but his whole life has been about overcoming adversity and not being a victim of your circumstances, but being an opportunist, where you're dealt whatever card you're dealt, using his opportunity to grow, and he's been a testament to that. And so I think it was good for our kids to hear. Any other questions? Right now, numbers-wise, I just on the football side of it, because it's the next sport. We've got 51 hands that rose that are going to be playing high school football next year, and 6 of them are on the fence, which puts us at 57 if all of them play that say they either will or are thinking about it. These are all kids that are in athletics, and this is all minus the kids that I've removed from athletics because they're not committed.
Any other questions, Warren? Right. We'll move on to Mr. Hine.
Hey, I have one thing to add about the athletics banquet. I've got several compliments, and I haven't passed this on to you yet. I have several compliments about how we left the facility, that we left it in better shape than when we got there, and so they were very happy with our cleanup and stuff. So, kudos.
That was like a community pitch in. I just mentioned it at the end, and I'm serious. Everybody pitched in. Rusty worked his tail off up there. I mean, bless his heart, I'm sure he lifted many a chair at the table, but still. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know if y'all noticed, but Dyers, Garrison made him mention that was the fastest he's ever seen that many people get fed. I mean, they shelled them through like cat, 4 lines, rocking and rolling. And so it was a good deal. But I appreciate that, Richard. Like I said, that's a community reflection.
Well, that's a good thing. On the report itself, I don't really have anything specific to point out. I will point out on the revenue side, I've been waiting for the SHARS, the final SHARS payment, so now we're at 75,000 of our budgeted 55,000 collected. And so that'll be our last SHARS payment for this year. Appraisals, we talked about it in the workshop when we decided not to go forward with the bond, that appraisals were going to go up significantly. And they're out now, and they did go up significantly. So I'd like to thank you once again for deciding to not move forward with the bond. I think our citizens would not have appreciated us trying to do it in this atmosphere. So you guys did make a good decision on not moving forward with that.
I know we've got a appraisal district meeting 24th of this month. So if anybody's got any questions?
Your fault.
If y'all got any questions y'all want me to ask them, 'cause I got plenty, but anything y'all want to know.
They want to help me pay my taxes?
That's next.
I will say, Tara interviewed me yesterday for the paper, and one of the comments I made is that if you feel that your values are too high, appeal. That's why the process is there. And so, speaking of appeals, as I mentioned earlier, our appeal did fail on our, on the losing that money for this year. We appealed 17 different houses, and we won 2 of the 17. And the 2 that we won were like, okay, there's a $4,000 difference. But all of the houses that went for like $100,000 over appraisal that we appealed, the grounds for the appeal was just, hey, this is an improper sale. It shouldn't have been be counted. And the appraisal or the state board said, nope, it should. And so we lost. And there's really no other recourse. I mean, we could. They told us that we could continue the battle, that we would have to actually hire lawyers and take them to court and try to fight it and lose in court, but there's no sense in that.
What was our cost for just the appeal?
The way that the Purdue, Brandon, and Moffitt's thing is, if they win, they get 10% of the difference that you do, so it didn't cost us anything. Well, so we won like $10,000, so we'll give them $1,000 for that, so. And they do that, like for example, the money we lost for the DCP settlement, I can't remember now, it was like $60,000 or something like that. They sent that back to and had our values adjusted, and then they'll send that back to TEA, and we'll get some of that money back as well, and they'll keep 10% of that as well. So I mean, it's a pretty good deal for them and for us, for them to keep that 10%, but because they get us more money. And they routinely look at taxes. I mean, they'll go back several years and they'll send us a letter and say, hey, we've looked at 2015's taxes and you guys should have got this and you didn't, and so we're gonna appeal it, and it's happened several times. On some maintenance stuff, the football field, we've been working on it. Just, I don't know if you've noticed, but we had somebody go out there. They put sand on it, and they put more seeding and fertilizer. They have a name for it, but I can't. It escapes. I'm sorry, what?
Overseeding?
Well, no, it's like topping the field or something.
Top dress.
Top dress. They top dress the field, so.
New sod.
I'm sorry, what?
New sod?
No.
Turf. Oh, turf.
Turf.
Yeah, that's it, turf.
That's Stacy.
Yeah,
But-
there you go, because we got it somewhere.
But I was fairly impressed with the people that are working on it. I don't know, did you see them working on it?
They did phenomenal. The machinery was unbelievable. I don't know where they got it. It looked like it would paint your back porch. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, so we're pretty happy with that. Hey Felix, do you want to call? I don't know if you've seen the pictures, but the gym is currently, we're working on the resurface, and that's what it currently looks like. So we're pretty happy with how that's turning out. Now, they did a ton of sawdust. If you drove by and you saw all the dumpsters full of black bags, yeah, that was the sawdust from them sanding the floor. So they'll be done with it on Friday, but then it's got to sit for 8 to 14 days. And then they did both gyms. So we're pretty happy with how that
Did
project.
we go back under that goal and check in there?
Yeah, it had actually flattened out. The last time we went there, it was a fairly flat surface. All the little humps and stuff were all gone.
Doesn't sink half inch when you walk on it.
No. So I guess they were right with the humidity. So now when they sanded it, there was still a little bit. The boards had a little bit of a wave to them, but when they sanded it, they said, yeah, that would just sand out. So that should be fine. The units we ordered have still not arrived for that gym. They were supposed to put it on during spring break, but they didn't even have shipping information by then. We finally have shipping information. They're supposed to be here in early June. And they're going to put them on almost as soon as they get them, I believe, because he said he doesn't have room to store them at his place to wait to put them on. So as soon as they get here, they'll probably put them on the gym. The bathroom outside of the gym, we finally have that retiled. Now we just got to get the plumbers to come back and put the fixtures back in. So that repair has been ongoing for a long time. I did not anticipate that bathroom being out of order that long. And then the asbestos that I discussed earlier, is that we found out, like I said, we had tiles coming up and a request to retile those rooms, and those tiles, they look like they were probably pre-1990. And pre-1990 is when in Texas they got rid of the asbestos in the mastic. And so so just in an overabundance of caution, before we did anything with them, we would send them off to be tested, and sure enough, they came back positive. Even though we have in our book that there is no asbestos in the high school, our asbestos book, well, it's wrong. So we will address that and find out what it will cost on that. And that's really all I have, unless you have any questions for me.
Anybody have any questions?
207 from the appraisals, is it reflected in this, or is it?
The money that they've taken out? Yes, well, it's reflected in the, like in the revenue we're receiving, it's reflected, it's not I haven't done a budget amendment that said we're reducing our revenue that amount.
But where we said this is our budgeted revenue, we're not gonna meet that. And so we're
Correct.
gonna- okay.
We are gonna fall
But
short.
right now, the numbers are not, I mean, that's not in there.
I mean, we haven't adjusted the budget,
Okay.
correct?
That's what I wanted. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Garrison.
All right, there's enrollment and attendance information that held pretty steady, the enrollment, and then the ADA, and then attendance at just about 93.68% for April, so it did come up some, not a whole lot, but it did. We have our employee appreciation meal on May 20th at 12 p.m. in the junior high cafeteria, and then we've got graduation that same night at 8 p.m. And if you can be here, that'd be greatly appreciated. We'll meet here in the boardroom and we can walk out. If all y'all can be here, that would be great. 7:45, which would be great. There'll be plenty of time. And then I had a training the other day with the Service Center and with the Senate Bill 1566. They have the ISO training that requires us to do that every 2 years. It's an in-person training, so I threw out some dates there where the trainings are coming out, and if we all go together and we're present, then they'll give us our Team of 8 credit. So if, we don't have to pick a date tonight, but, I threw out the dates there for all their trainings, so that way, if we can all go, then we get that credit. And then also I sent you out another training for the school board safety training that you have to complete on your own online. It's, they say about a 2-hour training. And I sent you that link. If you have any questions or have any trouble, it's kind of tricky logging in, but if you need any help, just you can give me a call or let me know and I can help you hopefully log into that. And I'm not sure the time frame on when we have to have that done. I know we just have to have it done, and I believe it's also every 2 years we have to do it. And so other than that, just working hard and with all the activities and staying busy through the end of the year. And I do want to say, at the athletic banquet, Mr. Wiggins did change it up this year, and at the end he had all the cheerleaders go to the front, and then everybody sang the school song at the end. And it was pretty neat. It really was, and we had never done that before, but it was a pretty neat ending to it. So kudos to him for doing that. So.
Okay. All right. On the 20th, who's going to be able to make it? So we need to be here about 11:30ish, 11:45. Start at noon.
Yeah, 11:30.
Everybody here? Logan, you know?
I have no idea.
Mike?
I should be.
Stacy? Of course. You're off every day.
Octavia has graduation at 10, but after that I'll be here.
Okay, well, you should be here then. All All right.
I'm in Denver, I should be able to make it.
If you're not in Denver, yeah, okay.
What time is that?
11, you can be here, we usually show up about 11:30, try to kick it off right after lunch.
Have the cafeteria.
Okay, so we need to set workshop. Do y'all want to do it around the 25th, or do you want to do it like on June 1st?
June 1st.
When?
June 1st.
Yeah.
Couldn't be easier.
They're still playing ball game.
It's a Wednesday.
I'll probably have a baseball game in that. I haven't even got to.
Well, the end of the season is the seniors the same? 6-4. It's our last game at 5:24.
May can be after all that.
I think we would have a meeting on the 8th. Or the 15th. That's 2 weeks from now.
25th works for me.
Okay. Workshop will be on superintendent's evaluation and the teacher survey.
On the 25th?
Yes, sir.
What time?
Y'all, what's the earliest y'all can be here?
After 6:30, that's 9.
Can we do 6 and come after that? I don't think it'll take that. You want to do 6? Okay, and then regular meeting. Y'all want to do it on the 1st or the 8th? The 8th? Okay. 6 o'clock. So for the appreciation banquet, we'll have some different things, and we'll let everybody do something kind of different up there, like announce different people, and we'll have an invocation, everything like that, so introduction, let everybody participate, unless you don't want to. So, all right. Anything else we need to do? Will you get those, when can we have the evaluations out? I'll look again.
I've got a copy of it when we go back there.
Okay. All right, Mr. Hine, will you call us into closed session to discuss personnel, to hear complaints against certain personnel or public officer, Texas Governmental Code 551.071, to discuss personnel, Texas Governmental Code 551.071, discussion regarding head basketball.
What time?
And review and discuss superintendent about too, but we won't do that.
Well, we were gonna review it, make sure it was correct.
Right, we're gonna do the eval. We're
Yeah.
gonna do it. Okay, at 8:40. Okay, Mr. Hine, will you call us out of closed session at 9:12? We had no action in closed session. Make a motion to adjourn at 9:12. Second by Chad. All in favor? None opposed, motion carries.
Okay, I need the three that sworn in to sign their statements. And then I need the president and secretary to sign a couple of these.
Oh, Jerison?
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe you already did it, but I'm just double checking. Did everybody, did this diploma?
No, they're not in yet.
Not in yet?
No, she
Oh.
ordered them like 2 months ago and they're not in.
Oh, okay, because
And
normally
so-
this meeting, we're like
Yeah.
signing diplomas.
Well, that's
like
why,
crazy.
because I went over there today and she was like, no, and so she called and he's emailing, so I'm
Okay,
hoping we get
just-
them in.
just curious.
As soon as I get them, I'll let you know.
Well, it's Doug and
Doug and Billy.
Billy, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not me this year,
Yeah,
that's why I was saying, I'm glad
Yeah,
I
I
had to, and I was like, I
know.
wonder if they've done that already.
No, I forgot.
Interesting.